Yo, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another video. Today, boys, we're going to be talking about the Auburn Tigers, talking a little bit of recruiting here as we approach signing day. And just like the Florida video that came out yesterday, Hugh Freeze doing just what Billy Napier is doing, winning on the field, but also he has a lot of momentum on the recruiting trail right now, a ton. He's taking full advantage of that. And as you can see, they sit at 5th overall in the 2025 class right now with 27 commits. So you probably assume their class is almost full, and they're trying to hold on to a couple guys. I have two big names that they're still going after, and that's pretty much it for them. You know, two guys out there that they still really want, but they're also holding on to about 3 to 4 guys, and that's what we're going to talk about in the video today. Yeah, starting things off, as you can see, we have Deuce Knight, 5-star quarterback from Mississippi. This is a guy they flipped from Notre Dame about a month ago. He took a visit to Ole Miss 2 or 3 weeks ago, and there was some talk maybe Ole Miss is back in the race and maybe a threat to flip him. But as of now, as we're about a week out from signing day, Deuce Knight sounds like he's going to stick with Auburn. Now, Jared Smith also sounds like he's going to be sticking with Auburn as well. Ole Miss, once again, trying to flip one of Auburn's top targets. And Jared Smith, he did take a visit this week. If he does take a visit back to Ole Miss, things could get shaky. Nonetheless, there is confidence around Hugh Freeze and his staff that they will hold on to him as we approach signing day. Anquan Fagans, Nathaniel Marshall, two more defensive guys, top 60 players. Fagans, one of the best. He's one of the best safeties in high school football. At one time, he was a 5-star. Once again, another Alabama guy. Doing really good keeping guys home at Alabama. As you can see, Alvin Henderson. He recently broke all the records, I believe, for high school football in Alabama for a running back. He's the 5th running back. Malik Autry, he recently shut down his recruitment. He's locked in with the Tigers, a long-time commit. He committed way back in February of 2023. Eric Winters, another Alabama. Derek Smith, receiver from Alabama. Yeah, they're doing a really good job of keeping the Alabama kids at home. Now, Nate Marshall, he's currently committed, but teams are in pursuit, and the biggest contender is Texas. Texas is probably the biggest threat here for Auburn. As we approach signing day, I think the confidence is still pretty good around Auburn, but it's also fairly high with Texas. They believe that they're going to get this done as we approach signing day and ultimately make that flip. And we're just going to have to wait and see how that plays out, obviously. We have a whole week of games yet this weekend, seeing if he pops up anywhere on a campus. That's going to be something to keep an eye on if you're an Auburn fan. Tavares Dice, we talked about him in the Florida video yesterday, actually. Just talked about him. This is probably the most shaky recruit in your class. One that's probably going to leave, but you're doing everything you can to hold on to him. And like I said in the Florida video, the Gators are the main contender for him as well, and the main threat. They're the only threat in this recruitment, to be honest. Yeah, this is definitely going to be another guy to keep an eye out for, along with Elijah Melendez. Once again, there's only one team really contending for him as well, and that's Oregon. He took a visit to Auburn. He's been to Auburn a few times. He also went out to Oregon as well. The buzz right now is that he may return back to Oregon this weekend. But I think the biggest thing for Auburn is try to communicate to him. Don't let him take that visit, and then see where things go from there. He is from Florida, so you definitely have distance on your side. Even though he's not an in-state kid, Florida to Oregon's a lot further than Florida to Alabama. I mean, this is a very talented kid. Obviously, you want to keep a hold of him. I mean, he's a kid with 38 offers, very talented. He might be an underrated prospect. Nonetheless, probably the third and last guy to keep an eye on in your class if you're Auburn. All right. Now we got Justice Terry and Naheem Alford. 2 5-stars, 2 top 10 recruits. Now, if you're Hugh Freeze, these should be your main priorities. Yes, you want to keep guys committed. But if you lose Melendez and you get Justice Terry, is going to be overshadowed by one of the biggest recruiting victories in the history of Auburn football. Even if you don't get him, it's still impressive that you're in this race because you're going into Georgia 1. You're going to try getting a 5-star D lineman from Kirby Smart that he's going all in for. Usually that's very hard to do, right? Go into Georgia, take a 5-star from Kirby. You don't really see it happen very often. Now Texas is another contender along with Georgia, and that's really it, right? It's Auburn, Texas, Georgia, Alabama kind of fading away, but nonetheless, you still have some big time schools in contention here. Same with Alford. 3-team race. He's coming into Ohio State. He's supposed to visit this week for the Michigan game. We'll see if that ends up happening. Oregon's also in this, and then Auburn, obviously. Now, there's a lot of confidence around Auburn, and not just Auburn, around the media too, that he's going to be a Tiger on signing day. As you can see, there's predictions in for him to go to Auburn, not just on 247, but also on On3. On3 had a lot of predictions for him to flip, so this will definitely be something to keep an eye on for. In my opinion, I don't think he's going to stay with Ohio State. I think that's pretty fair to say. He's pushed back multiple visits. It's almost like he's refusing to visit Ohio State. I don't know if it's like a communication thing. Maybe they're not communicating back and forth, and those visits end up getting canceled. Or he just simply doesn't want to go to Ohio State, and he's just waiting to decommit until he chooses another school on signing day. He has announced he will be choosing between the 3 schools. So that's kind of a giveaway that he may be flipping. And right now, if you're Auburn, you got to feel pretty confident. You obviously have to feel a lot more confident than Oregon does, simply because he took a visit again to Auburn, and you're getting a lot of predictions, a lot of confidence around the program. So all in all, Auburn currently sits at 5th. And as we mentioned, there's some guys out there they just got to hold on to. You hold on to those guys. You add one of Alford or Terry. We're talking top 3, number 2 class. And if you have the number 3 class at Auburn, Hugh Freeze, his job security should be pretty good, assuming that they win games next year. And the way they're finishing this season, just like I said with Florida, you're finishing the season on a high note. A lot of young, promising players. Look at Cam Coleman, for example. He's going to be one of the best receivers in college football next year. Like, you have these young guys to build on. And if you keep recruiting top 5, top 10 classes, you're going to be in contention for years to come. So Auburn fans, let me know down below how you feel about getting Naheem Alford or Justice Terry. And also, who's your favorite recruit in your class? And before you guys head out, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and I'll see you all in the next one.